Recording. So, what was the idea with so we've got to work out the area of the sector. So, what are we basing our calculations on?
The circumference.
But if we want to work out the area of that sector, we start with what area? The full circle, yeah? Now, I have put in front of you, I mean, you've probably already got your formula booklets anyway, but I've put a page in front of you which has the formulas that are relevant. Well, only one formula that's relevant actually. Which one is it? The circle. Okay. So you've got the formula for the area of a circle. So when I do these problems, what I do is I think, right, here's the entire circle. What is the area of that entire circle? What's the formula for it first?
It's pi r squared.
Pi r squared. Okay.
And then would it be it's divided by 2?
No, not yet. So the entire circle is pi r squared, yeah? Without doing it. Do you remember dividing by 2 was because we only had half the circle, yeah? So the whole circle is pi r squared. What's r of this circle? If I were to carry this circle on to make an entire circle, what would r be? Yeah. So basically, you can go straight up. That would be the r value. So in this case, r is what?
8.
8. Yeah, r's 8 centimeters. You want to write this down on your version of your sheet? The area of the entire circle that this is a part of is going to be pi times 8 squared, which, have you got your laptops with your calculator on in front of you? 201 or 9, 1. 201 point, so can I say 1? Okay. The reason why I just went to 201.1 is because 3 significant figures, and how many is that?
4.
4, so I've got 1 more than I need. Alright? Now, put the circles in front of you again. So, for instance, if I got the dark, maybe the orange one. Alright? So the orange sector circle represents sort of that diagram, just roughly. So we know that roughly there are 3 of those in, but that's not good enough. We can't say roughly 3. That gives me an idea that I am going to have to divide that 201 by something, yeah? Roughly 3, right? Let's find out. Any ideas how we can work out how many of those go into an entire circle? So how many of those ones? So with this one, we know that, what's the angle in the middle of that, by the way? No. What's the angle of an entire circle?
Oh, 360.
So if I take a third of it, what's the angle in the middle of that one? 120, yeah? So that is not quite the same. That one on my screen is slightly bigger than that, yeah? So is there going to be 3 or is it going to be slightly less than 3? Slightly less. How can I work out how many of those actually will be? We've got to do 360 degrees divided by 150 degrees. Do you remember previously at the end of last lesson we looked at this and went, If I know that it's 60, we do 360 divided by 60. Tells me there are 6. So we're doing that same thing now, which is 360 divided by 150 tells me how many of them there are. Now that is not going to be as nice as one of these foam circle things, because if you do it, what do you get? 2 point, exactly, 2.4. Alright, so that means there are 2.4 of these in an entire circle. So what does that mean we have to do then? So the sector area is going to equal the 201.1 from up there, but divided by 2.4. So the sector area is, over to you, 83 point.
7. Yeah.
Okay, and we've got to give our answer to 3 significant figures, so the area is 83.8 square centimetres because it's area. Alright? How do you feel about that? Let's look then at the next one, but this time, what's the difference between this question and the last one?
It's RC in
Side is smaller.
The angle's smaller, but what we're being asked to find? The,
inside the ARC.
it's an arc.
R.
It's an arc. Yeah, that's right. We are not being we're not being asked to find that. We've been asked to find the arc, which is this. Yeah. That's the arc. All right. So really, remember before
Yeah.
we had the entire circle, but this time we want to know the arc, but we want to know the entire circumference. So what is the circumference formula? Pi d, good. I have given you your formula booklet there. What does it say the formula for circumference is?
C equals 2 pi r.
Okay.
Where r is the radius.
Yeah. So, or, do you remember I said C is 2 pi r, and what I asked you yesterday, why is that?
Because
Yeah. 2 r's are the same as 1d. Okay? What have we got here? What information have I got? Have I got the diameter and radius?
you have the wait.
Remember what I did before? I extended this and kind of just, you can do this in your head rather than on the paper, or you can do it on paper just roughly. This distance here is actually the radius, just like with the other one. So most of the time in the question we're given the radius, just because a sector is using the radius. Okay? So R, again, just like before, R is the 18 centimeters. Okay? But step one is always to decide which formula you are going to use. Are you going to use the area formula, or are you going to use the circumference formula? Yeah. So in this case, because it's an arc, I'm drawing the arc, I want to know the circumference, so I'm using the circumference formula, which there's no need to try and remember it. As soon as you see a question like this, you can open up the formula booklet to the right page and get the right formula. Yeah. Even if you can't remember pi d, you don't need to, because 2 pi r gives you the same thing. So let's work out the entire circumference then. We've got 2 times pi times 18. Can you tell me what that is? 113.09. centimetres for that.
It's always like the length.
The radius of a circle is from the centre to the outside of the circumference. So like I say, most of the time, I'm not going to say always, but most of the time in a sectors question, because imagine what you do, imagine that's a slice of pie that you're cutting. What do? You put your knife into the middle and you chop out. That gives you the radius of that pie. All right. How many of those in the entire circle then? How many of these in the entire circle? How do we work it out again?
360 divided.
Good. 360 is an entire circle. Okay, 360 degrees. 360 divided by 125 tells me how many there are. Do you think that's going to be a whole number or a decimal? Decimal. So far, Eden, we've done the same steps, but instead of doing area, we worked out circumference. So that's the entire circumference. We now need to know how many of these fit around there. And we get the answer
2.9.
2.9.
I thought we were trying to find the length of.
We are. But what we know is,
There's no.
we know all of this, but I want to know that, so I need to know how many of them fit in here. And it's 2.9, so I've used the angle to do that, yeah? So there are 2.9 of these in the entire circle. So again, would that circle make a nice one of these? No? Because it doesn't fit exactly into 3 pieces the same size. You'd have, it's almost like that, isn't it? Because we said these have got 120 degrees, but that's slightly more, so it's going to be slightly off one of those, but same principle. So instead of there being 3, it's 2.9. So we know there are 2.9. So how do we find the arc? It's going to be the 113.09 divided by the
I mean,
2.9, how many there are, yeah? And we get the answer
How did you get 115?
up here. Eden told me, she works out 2 times pi times 18. I didn't check, so I hope you'll,
Why did you do 2? What did you do?
because it's the formula. The circumference, the whole thing is 2 times pi times r.
Oh, it's 18.
R is 18, the radius. Yeah. What's 113.09 divided by 2.9?
38.
38.9? That's next. So that means this arc is 38.9 centimetres long, and almost 3 of them would make the entire circle. That's what we basically just said, yeah? In the same way, in our previous question, we worked out the area here, right? The area was 83.8 square centimetres, and 2.5 of those, so if I drew another sort of line to make another one, this would be like half of that, wouldn't it? So 2.4 of these would make the entire circle. But that's what we're finding. Just as a kind of check, the idea. So we've done area, just to review. Work out the entire area. Why did I work out the area for this one? Why did I use the area formula?
trying to find it.
Yeah, good. It says calculate the area of the sector. So I used the area formula. But then I just did this bit over here, look. I did the angle divided by this angle in the middle. So 360 divided by that angle in the middle. And let's just confirm with this other question, look. I still did 360 divided by the angle in the middle. That tells me how many there are. So that's a consistent thing. That happens every time. All right? What's the thing that's changed? The formula. Because we are asked to find an arc which is part of a circumference. That's why I use the different formula. So that's the change. Otherwise, the method is exactly the same. And that change is the first thing you have to realise. Do we have to memorise the formulas? Why not? The formula book. Good. All right.
Are you gonna give us a different form in the book or do we take off?
In the actual e-assessment, I don't think you even get a formula booklet. It's on the screen. You click on the tabs. Do you remember I've shown you before? You click on a tab and it will tell you what formulas are applicable. It makes it even easier because you don't need to look through the pages. All right? They give it you so you can use it every day in class. But I think on the test, it's like every time you have a question, just check the tabs at the top. Click formulas. So, all right. This one, look, first thing we do is check what am I being asked to calculate? Area of the sector. Can I get you to do this one? Area of a sector. What's the formula we're going to use? R squared. R is 15.2. So the area is pi times 15.2 squared. What did you get?
725.8.
Yeah, you agree? And that's a square centimetres value. Now we've got to work out how many of them are in the entire circle. How do you do that? So 360 degrees divided by 165 degrees gives you 2.18 or 2.2, right? Okay, 2.18 is fine. And then we finish off with, well, the area is the entire area but divided by
Awesome.
so 725.8 divided by 2.18. What do you get? Okay, but not finished. It says correct three significant figures. Most.
Oh, 333.
333.
That's squinting them.
Shall I just check? So, can you do your numbers again? 700 and point, what's that? 8 divided by 2.18, 332. But remember, we've talked about this before. If I round that, I am going to get, oh, that should be a point. if I round, I'm going to get slightly different answer, yeah? We need to be aware of that. So Luke kept it as 1/8, so his answer will be slightly more accurate, but not a big deal as long as what? You show you're working. So if you have 2.2 there and you have 2.2 there and you've got 329 there, you're all good. All right. By the way, I'm not doing this in terms of pi. I don't know if you've spotted that. I'm kind of just not worrying about that at the moment. All right. Although technically it is easier to give a final answer, but I'm not going to do it just yet. All right. Arclay, are you on to this next one? Let me work on it.